All right, Jake Prieur, thanks so much for coming on the Inner Edison podcast. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, Ed, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
And this is like the second time we've had to do this because we've had some issues. I'm
Right,
actually surprised because I'm in California. We've been getting so much rain that I haven't lost power or something else because last weekend we
right.
lost power for many hours. So,
Yeah, yeah. This is the end of the day for me. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska. So like you said, this is the second time we've done this. It's not surprising. I'm having tech issues at the end of the day. So we'll see. We'll see if we can keep it going.
we'll keep it going. All
Yeah.
right. So, feels like I've done this before, but your company that you have right now is called
Yeah.
Videoscale.co, and basically you do so. Go check them out. They do unlimited editing of video, and a
Yep.
lot of people don't realize once you start into this process of doing podcasting and doing stuff, in order to do it right, is what I've found is, and this is just my little formula that doesn't. I don't know if it works, but somebody sent it to me. They were trying to get me to go with them and stuff, and we talked about this before. Where whatever your podcast you do the audio up through whatever service you use, and
Hmm.
then you also put it on YouTube, but then you're supposed to cut it up and do three shorts,
Yep.
and then you're supposed to cut it up also in a 3 and a 5 minute segment and also
Yeah.
upload that to get the whole momentum going. And with what your services does, that's something you guys would do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And
exactly what we do. Yeah. And you're right. That's the process. I mean, especially if you start with the podcast, if you take 30 to 60 minutes per episode, and you take all that time, do all the research and have your guest, and you want to maximize the content that you get from your episode. And it doesn't necessarily be a podcast. It could be you do a webinar, you do a stage speech. You want to get as much juice out of that as you possibly can. And so you cut it up in any which way you can, and you can transcribe it into articles. You can do anything you want, but where we step in is we help take that load off of business owners' backs or podcasters' back, where all they have to do is show up, hit record, start recording, dump all of their thought and expertise onto the video, and then we help them from there.
yeah, because most people don't want to watch a 30-minute video unless they really love you. I
No.
mean that's just like Joe Rogan. There's no way I can do a 3 hour with him.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Huberman's a totally different question, especially when it's a
Right.
podcast. I can listen to him or watch him if it's a subject I want to know about.
Yeah.
But they don't know what you're talking about, who the person is, and what's going to said unless you have it cut up into multiple segments,
100%.
so they can just quickly absorb that information. And I think, and it took me forever to realize that. So I do a lot of lives, and people are on there the whole time. But then there's some people who don't want to spend that time because they're busy.
Mhm.
They have other stuff to do, and because there's
Yeah.
people I know that I would love to watch their stuff, but I just don't have the time to watch everything.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, in a past life before Videoscale, I owned a content marketing agency. And so we were helping businesses create copious amounts of content for their businesses, for their brands. We tended to use the long form video podcast as our central focal point of content creation, because you can create 20, 30 plus pieces of content from the one. And the things that we had found from almost all of our customers is that especially if they have the podcast as a central focal point, nobody wanted to watch the full episode. The only benefit the full episode had is that it allowed you to create the micro content. And so what we found is for those who used a podcast as their content marketing main component, is that people would become aware of their business or their brand or their thought leadership from a micro video, from a 2-minute clip or a 30-second clip. And that would pique enough of their interest where they say, God, that was really good. I wonder what else I could find if I keep digging. And we'd always point them back to the main episode. And from there, we'd start to see people start to like really, digest to consume the content, which then, generated new business for them. But it was always the micro videos. It was always the cut ups, because those are the ones that catch your attention, stop the scroll, and then eventually generate new business for you.
And you're competing with so many more people now. I
Yeah.
mean, and
Yep.
not podcast so much because, I came up with the 1023 of podcasting, which is, and I
Mhm.
don't know if we talked about that, where the 10th episode, most people stop doing them after the
Yeah.
10th episode. And then once you get past the 23rd, you're usually made it. But
Yeah.
even then, people have issues after that because they've been doing a podcast for so long. And then they're like, okay, I'm done. Just a lot of work,
Yeah.
a lot of money.
Yeah. It is a lot of work, especially, I mean, if you make it that far, you found that it's worth your time, it's worth your money, it's worth the effort. The problem thing you find is, well, now this is number 11 on my top 10 list of things to do, and I don't have time for it anymore. and I'm kind of burnt out on doing it. Once if you're doing a weekly podcast or bi-weekly. And so that's sort of where Videoscale comes in, is we say, all right, we're going to let you buy back your time. Now you're going to have a few more hours per week in order to focus on things that actually move the needle for you and actually are higher generators of income and revenue. And so, yeah, I think on one of my podcasts, we're at episode 35, and we're going to keep going with it, but essentially we've outsourced it back to Videoscale. But yeah, that's where we come in and just allow people to buy back their time and their schedule.
And then the other thing is, you still got to post it.
Mm-hmm.
So even though you create all this content, you still got to post it.
Yeah.
And you got to post it right. And you got to post it at the right time. And you got to put, there's so much going on with the stuff. I got to a point where just post it.
Yeah.
Stop worrying about the time. Do it multiple times. I've listened to so many different people who say, okay, you should do 3 static pieces of content a day plus 2 reels, or it's like, really, it's just a matter of someone's going to see it when they see it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The algorithm is always going to change. People's tendencies are always going to change. So I'm like you in the sense of just post it, get it out there. People will find it. A broken clock is right twice a day. And so if you put it out there, you're going to hit some of your audience at some point. And so just get it out of your head, get it out in front of your audience, and it'll get in front of them eventually.
This wasn't supposed to be a whole podcast on your company, but
the
statement I have. So have you guys thought about, because you have usually the same editors work with the same people.
Yeah.
Have you thought about getting somebody to post the content for them?
We've thought about that, and I've got an itch to do that. I mean, there's a lot of things we want to do in order to add more components to what we do. Like, for instance, what we could do is we could have somebody who sits in on your podcast and listens to all the high points and takes show notes, and then we can have people transcribe it, we can have people post it, and the list is endless of what things we can add. And so we've said, you know what, we're just gonna stick to editing because we do that really well. We do it better than anybody else. Let's just stick to what we do well, and don't try to stray a little bit.
Yeah. Because for me, for transcribing, it's hard to find the right person, but I'm telling you right now, Cast Magic does a wonderful job of transcribing it and cutting it up into every little segment and breaking it down. But you said it from this to this to this to this. You don't need that person to sit in and take the show notes anymore.
Yeah.
But you're right. But the next step is finding somebody who will post it properly and do it the right way. Because there's so many ways people like, don't use these softwares, don't use this, because you don't get, and it's like, if you worry about it too much, you're going to focus only on posting content and doing no work.
Yeah. Your business is going to stumble if you focus it too much on it.
Yeah. And that was when I was first figuring out what I wanted to do for the few months, I focused so much on that. Yes, I had viral videos up to 750,000, but I realized what worked, but that doesn't mean I want to do that day in and day out. That is not, I do so much better talking to people than doing editing and posting and other stuff.
Yep. 100% agree.
Yeah. Well, stop agreeing. All right, let's go back. So you haven't always been here with the video, because you learned from one company what you didn't do right, and that's why you created this company from our conversation we had before, but people weren't there. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So started an agency with my partner, my good friend and partner, 2017. It was a content marketing agency. And like I said, we used the podcast as the central focal point for creating content. And we got to a state in our business where we knew that there were going to be times where we oversold, right? We had enough clients come on all at once where our on-staff editors were going to be overworked. And so we knew that we needed to have an outlet of just in case. And so we had used some of Videoscale's current competition, and it just wasn't a great time. It was moderately priced, so it was affordable, but the quality was substandard. They kept making the same mistakes. They were never hitting deadlines. And from that moment, we said, okay, well, we're not going to use this, but we can start something to compete, and it'll be sort of a sister company of what we are currently doing. And from that, I eventually sold my part of the agency, and I took Videoscale with me. And Videoscale was probably halfway built at that point. Like, we knew exactly what it was going to be, but we didn't know how we were going to build it out. We were going to have staff on hand. We're going to be international. How big was it going to be and whatnot? And so over about a 9-month period, I continued to build it, and I decided I wanted to build it, to your point, having learned some things that if I could do it again, this is how I would build it. And from that point forward, I started building it in a way in which it was, for me personally, fully automated and delegated. Right. So I, as an owner, wanted to be involved in it, obviously, because it's my baby. I enjoy this. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy engaging with future clients, but I don't want to be inundated. I don't want to build myself a new job. I want this to be sort of, a passion of mine. And so from that point on, I built it. I automated everything I could, and then delegated whatever I could. And then I'm gonna hire as much as I can, some incredible people, and I'll take on the things that I want to do, and I'll build slowly from there.
How do you find your incredible people?
Yeah, it's a great question. So one of the great things that came out of my old agency is a relationship with my now good friend. So he owns a creative staffing agency, and they source creatives from across the globe. And so they might be in the United States, they might be in Brazil, they might be in India, they might be in Finland, but they are top of the line. And so not only does he own a staffing agency, but he owns a training company. And so he kind of incubates all these creatives, whether graphic designers, video editors. And so as they exit his, let's call his university, they a lot of times enter into a staffing agency. And so for me, that was one of the things that I had identified is I love people. I don't really love managing people.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to have a staffing agency as a partnership where I'm sort of hiring their staff that I could flex with it. So if I lost a handful of customers, I could offload one of my editors or two of my editors back to their agency, and the agency would then allocate them elsewhere. And then if I grew fast, I could also bring them in, onboard them quickly, and keep moving forward. And that's been a godsend, having that ability to flex pretty quickly. They're high quality. They're across the globe, and they all speak English, and they're anywhere from 3 to 10 years or plus of editing experience. And so we take them in, and then we assign them to each one of our customers, and typically based on what tier they come in on. Like, so if you're at the pro level at Videoscale, you're usually getting a senior editor as well. And that's allowed me to not have to manage. I still manage, and a little bit, but for the most part, a lot of the HR related things are handled with my staffing agency partner.
Right, because they're not your employees.
They're not my employees.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're contractors,
Mm-hmm.
which is the best thing in the world.
It's the best thing in the world. I love it.
Because you don't
Wish I would have known it.
401ks, those other things. Yeah.
It's a lot easier. I mean, it's not only from just the headache of just, people are messy sometimes, which,
Mhm.
you have that, but all of the back office things, all of the HR, all the finances, all that's taken care of. It's
Right,
really
to
nice.
that company, right?
Yeah, to that company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that company? I assume that company's stationed in the United States, and they just hire from everywhere else.
Yeah, they have actually a couple offices. They're United States, they're in Brazil, and they're in Finland specifically.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I just take notes so I can come back to
Yeah.
it, because I've learned I'm getting older. Sometimes I forget what my train of thought is.
Right. I get that.
It doesn't matter what age. You just keep talking, and then you're like, oh, that's right. I wanted to bring that up.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
hear you.
What's one thing you wish you would have known before you started this agency?
Before I started Videoscale?
Yeah.
Thankfully, Videoscale is is all the answers to that question that I previously had. So when I started my previous agency, uh, um, we went through all the growing pains, right? We hired too quickly, we hired too slowly, we scaled our customers too quickly. Then we had seasons where we ran down our cash reserves a little too fast, and so you learn all those problems. So Videoscale really is it's not perfect by any means, but when you own a company for 7 years, you start it, you scale it, and you sell it, you learn a lot of those things. And so Videoscale is a lot of the answers to that question. One of them, obviously, when I started Videoscale was how do I build this thing without having to have people on staff? How can I outsource that? Another thing was how do I automate all the back office things that I still have to do, whether it's billing, whether it's onboarding, whether it's intake forms for projects, whether it's, notifying my editors of new projects and revisions, all of that sort of stuff. I used to have to do that as the chief operating officer of the past agency. I sort of was the project manager slash COO. So I had to do all that before I eventually automated and built it at our old agency. And so I built that.
How do you automate that?
It depends on for finances, there's a lot of, there's Zapier, and there's a couple other things
Mhm.
like Zapier that allow you to say, so you sort of kind of map it out and say, okay, if I receive a new order, then I'm going to automatically have a new invoice uh, drafted and sent, and I'm going to notify our billing agency or our billing person. I'm going to notify the editor that's going to be assigned to them. And so you kind of map these things out, you connect them through Zapier, and obviously you have to test it to make sure it works. And then you turn it on and set it and forget it. And it automates everything.
So it's almost like a funnel.
It is sort of like a funnel. Yeah. But I've got it all mapped
I know,
out.
but
Yeah.
that's what funnels do. You map it
Yeah.
all out. How if they this then there, all the stuff it used to do.
Yeah. The place that it really helped the most was the onboarding, right? Because there's a lot of back and forth emails. There's a lot of, okay, I need, from a creative standpoint, I need all your branding. I need all your logos, your fonts, your colors. I need your billing information. So all of that can be done. It takes a lot of front end work to set this up, but once you do, you never think about it again because it doesn't break. It doesn't, you don't have to change anything. And so for me, all I have to do is I handle demo calls and I have conversations with people and I say, can we help you? Are we a good fit for you? Are you a good fit for us? And establish a relationship and try to understand who are you and what are you looking for? Because that'll help me hand pick your editor for you based on who's got the bandwidth and who fits your profile. Then I can connect those people and be that sort of broker of relationships. And then I move on to the next one. I don't have any of that back office things anymore.
How big? Who cares about that? Move on. No, because it's just people it's hard to scale a company if you don't have automation and do certain things. One of the biggest problems people found in our industry, my industry,
Yeah.
it's very hard to scale that company because of how unique it is and how everything is. They've tried. I have helped a lot of tech companies over in San Francisco try to do it, and they're like, you can't scale your guys' stuff. Yeah, we know. That's why it's really hard for fintech to break into what we do.
Yeah.
They're trying, they still are, but eventually one day they'll figure it out. But right now they still can't because it's so human. You need the human so much.
Yeah.
In certain parts. I mean, we've taken out so much, but there's still, you need humans at certain segments, and you have to talk to somebody.
Yeah. For us, the key roles and responsibilities are handled by humans, right? The editors, all humans. Like everything we do is done by them. But aside from the editors, everything else is automated, and everything else is for the most. I mean, like obviously I have a bookkeeper and whatnot, but my editors are, I'd say, 80+% of my total cost of running this business, because obviously we hire premium people, we pay them well, we want to take care of them, we want to make sure they don't burn out. And so we're sourcing globally. We're not just, finding people from, countries that have a lower cost of living.
Right.
But that's allowed us to really keep our expenses low and allow us to scale at the pace we want to. And thankfully, one of the things that we were able to do at the old agency was test out, okay, what works and what doesn't on scaling an agency. And so when we launched Videoscale, we had already had a running start into scaling with our marketing automations and with the infrastructure of the business, and with this partner agency of creatives. It takes a week, sometimes two, to onboard a new editor into Videoscale. And so we can ramp up pretty quickly.
Because most of them have been trained already, and they've
all been trained. Yep. Yeah. And a lot of the tenets of the staffing agency are ones that I hold as well. And so, when it comes to speed and quality and morals, I mean, we sort of mirror each other. And so if they're hiring the right people, I already know they're going to be great for Videoscale.
Yeah, because what a lot of people try to get really cheap at people, right? And in certain countries where they constantly have issues, power, water, you name it, they have issues. So, and that doesn't really help your business.
No, not at all. I mean, you like editing, you pay you get what you pay for, and like editors, you get the same thing. I mean, I could pay someone half as much as I pay our editors right now, and I'd probably get half the quality. And again, one of the things we learned when we tested all of my competitors now is, and I don't want to disparage everybody. I mean, there's some really good ones out there, but the ones we used, the quality wasn't great. And so we said, okay, the two things you're going to get from Videoscale: great quality at a fast turnaround pace. You're going to pay a premium for it, but we're going to find the right customers who are willing to do that.
Yeah, but your prices aren't that bad. I mean
They're not
that.
bad.
No,
No.
I mean, because I dealt with some other people who
Mhm.
charge way more, and their stuff was nowhere as good.
Yeah. Yeah. We want to be, we like to say we offer the reliability that you often don't get from freelancers. Again, not that all freelancers are bad, but the reliability you might not get from a freelancer, but affordability that you won't get from a full agency or a full-time editor. And so our market fit is right in that in between. And so we're a great fit for a lot of people, and we're not the cheapest, we're not the most expensive, but you're going to get great quality and fast turnarounds.
Now, you did on the thing it says unlimited. So when
Mhm.
people think unlimited, so what is that? What does unlimited mean?
Yeah, so unlimited means that you can submit as many projects as you want, and we work on them one at a time. And so it depends on the speed, depends on the complexity, the length of the video, how much stylizing do you want. But as soon as we're done with one project, we move to the next one. Done with that one, move to the next one. And so there's some onus on the customer to make sure that they get us feedback as quickly as possible, that they've got a queue of projects waiting for us so that we're not wasting days waiting for another one. But assuming a customer has a queue of projects and they're pretty quick, within a few hours of us sending them a revision, they've got some feedback to us. We've got customers who get 30, 40 plus videos a month. And so their cost per video is incredibly low. I mean, it'd rival probably some people you'd find on Upwork or Fiverr. But that's the beauty of having a dedicated editor, is that, Ed, you come on board, we're gonna give you a dedicated editor. So as you grow, the editor grows, and the more they work on your brand and your company, they're going to understand what you like, what you don't like, and they're going to preemptively build that into their edits. And so that way they're streamlined. They know exactly what Ed wants, and the speeds are going to speed up. And so you're going to actually see an increase of content. So is it unlimited in the sense of can I give you a million videos and I still only pay 1 month? Obviously not. But we do get some. Thank God I've never had that sort of question. Like I can pay you once, right, and then turn it off. But we've got people who they like longer form videos, and they do a couple a week, and they're okay with that. We have some guys who do 30, 40, and they're pretty clean cut every month, and so it's across the board.
Right. No, just because that's where we're going. There are going to be more and more people doing this, especially
Yeah,
with, you know, how there's so many different softwares and different things out there, or apps to use to
yeah.
do it yourself. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be what you really want, or the quality
Yeah.
you want. Yeah.
Yeah, not at all. And AI is. I was having a conversation with a video editor recently, and he was asking like, do you think AI is the way to go? Or do you think Videoscale is going to be AI driven? I said, you know what? No, I don't think that. I think for Videoscale specifically, if we think that AI can help the process and we can offer a better product, a faster product, and maybe even a more affordable product, sure, we'll adopt it. But it'll never replace an actual editor. It's funny, on a podcast actually yesterday, we had a professor and a researcher from MIT, and he's at like the cutting edge of technology, and he focuses more on the real estate side. But his point was, he was talking about AI, and he said AI, in his opinion, will never get to a point where it replaces or it doesn't need the approval over the oversight of a person, right? And so even if you adopt AI into your video editing, you still have to have that human oversight in order to make it its max capacity. And I think there's a place for AI in video, and but it won't replace human editors at all.
Well, I think AI is just going to fill the void of the missing people that
Yeah,
we can't find.
agreed.
Right. The jobs that nobody wants for some reason,
Hmm.
they want these. And that's what I think it's going to, because the amount of people that we have in the workforce that are working, and that what's available to work, they're there. They just don't want to work. And so that it'll come in and replace that.
Yep.
I was on a podcast, and he's out of LA, and he's in the music, the whole industry when it comes to advertising now. And he's like, they didn't think we could, when you go and you click on something and you're going to want something, we throw, in seconds, you have the opportunity to buy that as that person's right there. And he goes, people didn't think we'd replace humans on this. And we do. Well, that's different. That's a totally different world. There's certain things that'll help and make better, but you still need humans. People still want to talk to people.
100%. Yeah. Anytime I'm on a website or trying to interact with the business, I get me to the person the fastest you possibly can. I mean, chatbots are pretty amazing at this stage in life, but I want to talk to a human all day, every day.
Yeah, so they're good, but they're nowhere close. Even the AI stuff, it's
nope.
Because I use them just to play around, and it's like it's horrible. It's still not a person.
Yeah. We have some AI chatbots in some other businesses, and they're excellent. They handle a lot of the front end questions that you might get, like if someone doesn't go to the Q&A or the FAQs. But you still always have to have that human oversight because the people want that human touch.
I mean, high level, they have their stuff is starting to get really good.
Yeah.
But it's still, it's going to take time. I mean, there are some drive-throughs that have AI now that you talk to.
Oh, really? I'm in the Midwest. We don't see a lot of that. So
there's a few that they're testing right now, and they're doing much better. So eventually they're thinking there will be a Taco Bell that is driven, and there's only one person that puts in the meat and the stuff in the jugs and where to put it so they can make everything and be done. We'll see that because people don't, can't afford to pay somebody $22 an hour to do that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
I can see that happening because we made that push to, you don't have to, if you go to McDonald's, you don't go to the front and talk to a person anymore. You have a speed checkout line. And everybody thought, well, I don't know that's ahead of time. I don't know if that's going to work. It seems to be working, and it's definitely saving money for McDonald's because they're printing cash at this point. So that seems like be a place where AI could step in and really take over.
And that's just like the QR codes in some of the restaurants, right? Everybody hated them. Well, there's a couple I know that still have it up in certain places just because you can't get enough people, and you can sit down, order, everything comes to you. You know what I mean? Why do you need to tell somebody to go and mess up your order?
Yeah. I was at a restaurant a couple of months ago that even had it mechanized the way in which it delivers its food. So you didn't interact with the person when you ordered it, and it didn't interact with the person when it delivered it. It was on tracks, and it dropped it down and onto your table.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where are we going?
The world we live in.
Yeah, it's going to change, and it's going to get better. And there's some things that will probably get worse, but that's how it is.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Jake, thanks for being on the show today. How do people find you if they want to get connected with you?
Yeah, like it says right there, videoscale.co. Check us out. And if you schedule a demo call, you'll probably get me. But and you can find me on LinkedIn as well.
Again, Jake, thanks so much for coming on the show today. I really enjoyed having you.
Appreciate you, Ed. Thank you.